to have you join us again. My name is Omololu Rosawo. Today on Talk Point, we shall be looking at human rights and citizens' protection. Of course, Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution speaks to the rights to life, rights of citizens to protection, to association, to freedom of speech, and the likes. Let's start with security. I have a guest in the studio who will do justice to that, and I would like to introduce Celetine Nabuchi Ulo. Nice to have you on Top Point.
It's a pleasure being in the house once more.
Yes, it's been a while. Yes, I know you had to do some things underneath. Yes, it's good to be back.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, let's start with security. It is expected that the government at all levels or at all tiers will provide adequate security to its citizens. Is the government really doing much in this direction if you look at what is happening around us in the country?
Well, good afternoon, Nigerians. As I was outside this afternoon, as I was coming to the studio, I went through my message and I saw somebody writing there asking this program you are promoting, there's a human rights in Nigeria and whatnot. Is it applicable? Is human rights applicable in Nigeria? And I told him, well, that's the essence of the discussion. We're going to open up the scope for people to understand their rights and how to go about it. We are talking about protection of citizens' rights and enforcement of fundamental human rights. Well, as you rightly asked, chapter human rights activities, as can be seen in the modern world, is a product of United Nations declarations after Second World War, because the atrocities committed against humanity at that point was outrageous. So United Nations started talking about, after formation of the United Nations, they start talking about how do we bring humanity together and ensure that we promote peace and fundamental rights for people. That's the essential rights, what people should be entitled to enjoy as human beings. That's what led to African chapter on human and people's rights, where they now come OAU. Yes, that was now became African Union. Now, at that point, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights started talking about how to develop fundamental rights further, where they now brought in some ideas, borrowed the leaf from the United Nations declarations, and brought it to African level, where some rights are even exclusively reserved for humanity, or Africans. Some areas of rights were essentially declared to be part of rights entitled as an entitlement for any human being alive in Africa. And that was what led to many countries in Africa, and they created different countries to imbibe into their constitution, so that those rights, as enshrined in a United Nations Declaration of 1945, should be extended to countries. That was how Nigerians and other countries in Africa started placing that in their own constitution. In the African Declaration, we have up to 30 rights. But in Nigerian context, I think we have about 15 or 13 or thereabout. But the fundamental rights are enormous. But in Africa, we are talking about, particularly in Nigeria, we are talking about I don't know, from section 33 to 36. That is about 13 rights, exclusively reserved for Nigerians. So those rights are exclusive reserve of an individual. That is to say that in as far as you are alive, those are no-go areas that should be trampled upon by any human being. It's your right. So when we talk about these rights, section 33 of the same constitution talks about right to life. This is an essential right. And that is talking about security, because you have to be safeguarded to be alive. So that security we're talking about now is something that have taken another dimension, because it's like it's overlapping. The system is choked up. People don't even know their left and right. You can see the level of killing. Some people take all into their hands in the southeast, calling themselves unknown gunmen. You see bandits in the north misbehaving. You see some bandits even coming to encroaching in the southwest. So this is as a result of people trampling upon each other's rights. And the government agencies are not leaving us up to the expression of an individual. That's why we are clamoring for state policing. Because there are some particular elements things are changing. Life is evolving. Everything is, the government, the leadership is even evolving. So people have to move along with it and ensure that what happens in the past, whatever happened, should not be allowed to repeat itself. So if I'm to say, there are a lot of areas that made this thing we are talking about to be happening, in the sense that we expect a lot of reforms, government reforms. Judiciary is not helping matters here. The judiciary, once when you talk about judiciary, I'm talking about fundamental rights. Why are people not enjoying it in Nigeria? A lot of factors are causing this. A lot of individuals are not part of this, are not living up to the situation. People don't even know their rights. 80% of even educated Nigerians don't know their rights. They don't know what fundamental rights is all about. They just see it on newspaper, they hear it on radio, they see people on TV talking about this, but they don't know how to read from it. They just see, they hear that we have fundamental human right to this, but they are distant from enforcing it. The civil societies, most of the civil societies are not, most people running civil societies are not educated. They don't know, it's few people that are now, unlike what was happening in the past. Everything is just shrinking off the rail, and it's worrisome.
Okay, I'd like to ask you this. Do criminals such as terrorists and bandits, do they really deserve human rights protection? You know, despite the heinous crimes, considering the death penalty proposal for it to take place, so that it can be a deterrent. Because most times you will say they want to kill some people, you find some people, some lawyers standing in gap for them, you find some civil society groups saying no, they shouldn't be killed. Meanwhile, these terrorists and bandits, they are part of those that kill people. They hijack people, they kidnap, they collect ransom, and they do all sorts of heinous crimes. They even behead people. If you look at what happened in Oyo State recently before they were released, something like that happened. So in situations like this, are you going to be proposing that they also have rights? Oh, it comes to laughter.
What is called, we call it fundamental human rights. That is to tell you every human being, okay, right to dignity. That is to telling you, right to liberty. You are talking about, you know, as far as I have my own life to live. Everybody, life to dignity, life to liberty. Everybody is assumed to be innocent, presumed to be innocent, or to improve otherwise. The court is looking at, the law is looking at, ensuring that whoever that is receiving punishment is the right person that have committed that particular act. So if somebody if you come here randomly, pick people, it's as if somebody stole something. We are running into this studio now. Everybody here is a suspect. Until you pinpoint the particular person that did that thing, you cannot say you have the administrative justice. But you are in the act of administering justice, and that justice might be miscarried to another person, an innocent person. So what this law is looking at is to ensure that whoever is receiving that punishment is the particular person that committed the offense. So in totality, jungle justice is not part of justice. It's barbaric, it's outdated. So, but it's unfortunate that because of the collapse of the system in Nigeria, so to say, people are now taking to jungle justice as the fastest way of executing their anger, believing that with the impression that the police and the court recycle crime. Once somebody is caught somewhere, you see the person tomorrow coming out, because the system is upside down, so to say. So ideally, nobody is supposed to be executed extrajudiciary without proper pronouncement of the court. But in Nigerian context, you are seeing people. That's why many people, that's what to say that that's one magazine that says that the court can even allow 99 criminals to go scot-free than to punish one innocent soul. The will of the court process grinds slowly, but it grinds fine, because what is meant to do is to make sure that whoever is receiving judgment is the right person. So mere presence of a scene of a crime does not make you a criminal. Somebody might be here after committing somebody might commit a crime and run away. The next person you see there is the person that did not commit a crime. So if you want to administer jungle justice, you see yourself going against the person that is innocent. So that's why the court wants to pronounce that person guilty. Guilty in the sense that they've checked all the system, and they are now looking at it that this particular person have been weighed and he's found wanting in every strata of justice system.
Okay, before now, before this administration, we used to have some bandits giving pardon, getting integrated into the system. Is that not another form of encouragement? If you are giving bandits pardon, I'm not saying the current government, but before now it happened. If you're giving them state pardon, is that not an encouragement for them to further go into that?
That is what led to this angle you are talking about, this jungle justice you are seeing. People have taken laws into their hands because they believe the system is not organized. The system is recycling crime. The system is trying to, that's what you get when you have a collapsed system. When the right things are not being done, when the people that are supposed to do the right thing for instance, the enforcement of these laws, the police, when they are not doing the right thing, you have problem. When the judiciary is elongating a pronouncement of judgment. If we want to talk about justice, some cases, some matters should be time bound. If somebody commits a criminal offense, let's say 3 months. In some part of this, some places in this world, once you commit an offense, give it 3-4 days. You see, 1 week they've sentenced the person. But in Nigerian context, you can't take court tomorrow. At times, those people the witnesses, in many cases, the victims. Let me give an instance with rape case. Most of the victims of rape cases are women, and most of them are, so to say, the indigents. People take advantage of them because of the level of their status in the society. So now, such ones don't have the finance. They don't have the exposure to context injustice. So now, when you want to administer justice on their behalf, most of them will even be running from you because they are threatened. They are not protected. So now, when you get to court and those people give evidence to a particular point, you can see them decline from giving the evidence, and that matter goes off. That person will be recycled into the system. So the same thing happens to these bandits. But it's unfortunate and it's regrettable that that governments are recycling this problem. And no reasonable person anywhere in the world will want a terrorist that have been... Do you know what it takes to convince someone to become a terrorist? Do you know the level of psychological orientation that is in his mind? Do you know the level of wickedness he has been perpetuating? Do you think you just talk to him overnight, you see the person, he will tell you he had repented? They call them repented Boko Haram. I don't think the system, the Nigerian system is not that developed to the extent that we expect somebody to go to become a bandit, and tomorrow we tell him he's no longer a bandit. Even abroad, even those ones that have the sophisticated systems that help them to cope those styles of lifestyle, find difficult. No talk of Nigeria. Have you seen America releasing any Al-Qaeda or ISIS member? Despite the fact they have better facilities that handle those situations. But they still handle them, place them in jail or kill them. So I expect any offense, particularly offenses that have to do with terrorism, to be receiving its capital punishment that is after judgment. You merit it.
So in that
would be deterrent to others.
So indirectly you support death penalty for bandits and terrorists.
Death penalty for bandits and terrorists. I support that.
Okay. Let's also look at the roles of the National Human Rights Commission in situations like this. What is expected of that kind of a commission so that citizens can feel more at home?
Well, it's unfortunate that National Human Rights Commission, the only time we hear their name is when they are defending budget. That's when you know they exist. But in the larger context of it, I have not seen them doing any orientation. I don't think they're in existence as far as Nigerians are concerned. So they're supposed to be talking about creating programs, reform for the government. They should be pushing government because they're supposed to be closer to the people. Whatever when they see people violation of human rights, they're the ones that be ensuring that government does the right thing. All this one we are saying here is part of the program anyway. Lagos State government, and the program is all about educating the people. That's the part of what Lagos is doing to broaden this thing, to bring it to the doorstep of an average Lagosian. Your rights are. But the National Human Rights Protection Council, they are not doing anything as far as I'm concerned. So we expect them to talk about judicial reform. There should be judicial reform that will accommodate the 21st century demand. There should be the Nigerian police force that should be ready to combat crime effectively. There should be civil societies, empower them. I run some NGOs. I know what it cost me to move around and mobilize with my own personal money to promote good governance and all this stuff. I know what it takes me to do that. And you have bodies that are there to help, but they're not programmed to help. So,
do they receive enough funding? Because that's another issue. Do they receive enough
well,
funding?
I've not dug into that as an individual, but we expect them to know. Because they know the population of Nigeria. They know their working scope, what their work scope should be. They know the level of areas they're supposed to cover. If they're not covering those areas, you're looking in what, why are we not covering this area? And you can see the level of the violation of human rights is increasing on a daily basis in every state in Nigeria. It have gotten to, I don't think, there's no state that is free from this human rights violation. You can see the level of killing. All of us are on social media. You see the abuse of children, by all these some women that are abusing children here and there, mutilating their bodies and or whatnot. Have you seen human rights commission or anybody from human rights angle, except individuals that are now taking laws into their hands, not taking laws, that are now trying to force police or the system to do the right thing?
I know of a commission in Lagos State because I know sexual and gender-based violence, the state government, I'm not being biased now, I'm just stating it as it is, working with the police, working with other agencies, there is a commission, the domestic and sexual agency.
No, Lagos, when it comes to
working.
I must give credit to Lagos State government when it comes to implementation of most of these rights. Because, for instance, all this domestic violence, if you get there, you see they are busy. And they are doing the right thing without even collecting the time from anybody. I have a lot of clients that goes there to handle issues, but I can tell you for sure that angle, when it comes to these issues we are talking about, Lagos is at least 80% above other states, ahead of other states. In many states, what they are saying here is in the context of Nigerian context. So a lot of commissions, like abuse of children abuse, Child Rights Act in Lagos is strict. If Lagos gets you abusing a child, it's a big issue. Unlike other states, that even many northern states have not even entered into that particular treaty. They refuse to sign it, Right Child Act, into law in many states. Right Child law in many states. They refuse to sign it into law. So you can see there's a lot of gap yearning for attention. That's where the National Human Rights Commission is supposed to come on board and start talking to the state governors and House of Assemblies on how to ensure that they form synergy and start promoting protecting the rights of Nigerians.
So from what you have said now, what advice would you be giving? Because I expect that more states will come on board to actually ensure the protection of their citizens or their residents, let me put it that way. So what advice do you have in this direction? Because the enormous responsibility is on Lagos, and people keep coming to Lagos. But how can we diffuse this and also ensure that it happens in other states? Well,
the stampede of people into Lagos is as a result of insecurity. It's a result of insecurity. So you can see most of the northern states, or most of those, and it's regrettable that most of the people that are coming here, most of them from north, are not employable. Let me use that word. If you're looking for a skilled laborer, you cannot, they can't fit in. Because most of them are predominantly farmers. These are people that are predominantly farmers. It's not that they are useless. They can fit into the society if well organized. For instance, instead of banning Okada outrightly, I expect since these guys are coming to Southwest, I expect the Southwest governors to come out with a program. Open up some farm settlement. Open up large farm settlement. Then grade it according to different categories. This particular person, 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acres, or whatever, and get up a system that can mop up whatever they produce. Now, if you come back to Lagos now and ban Okada, that's when I will take it seriously. If you ban Okada, anybody you see riding Okada, you carry him to that farm. You can't be feeding. I can't be feeding you for fun of it. Anybody, you just open the settlement and warn them. I don't want Okada anywhere in Lagos. If you want to farm, go there. Provide facilities for them. So anybody we get riding Okada in Lagos is in trouble. At that instance, you have created a job somewhere, waiting for them to meaningfully engage. But in a situation where, now, if you now get somebody and sees his bike, you're not going to put him in prison for the fun of it. He's going to serve jail time working for government, working for the state. And whatever he produces there goes around and feeds everybody. The food insecurity in Nigeria is as a result of those farmers in the north are here doing nothing. From morning till night, they're sitting down, playing chess or riding Okada. And Okada does not, I don't see how it brings development in any given society. So now we expect the government or the state government or southeast or southwest government to look into this angle. The youth, Nigerian population is made up of 60% of the population is youths. And all of them are from age 1 to 45. These are people that can engage themselves meaningfully. So if you want to talk about skill acquisition, how do you do that? You can see these guys, some of them are carrying sewing machine up and down. Can't you skill a cottage industry that will look at that angle, mop them up, open up some, even if it's the sheet that they are building, even if it's a pillow, you must produce for some schools, or even military or whatever camp. Now you can see those ones that are into Cobra, take them to Aba or whatever, bring people that can train them. So you can see these guys going up and down. You can now bringing them to reality of life. But in a situation where we just see they are nuisance, they are not nuisance, they are human beings. It's just that we don't have government that are creative. That's why most of these guys are passing through pains. You get people that are riding Okada, you get the Okada from him, you destroy the Okada, take him to, for Christ, most of us came from poor families. Is that because we can feed ourselves today?
Okay, well, I want to believe that all concerned are also listening to what you have said, because the essence of us coming here together is to further enlighten us, to further ensure that we do what is right in the society, both by the government and also the government, because we all have various roles to play in this. I want to thank you so much, Celetine Ilo, for being part of Talk Point today.
It's always a pleasure being in the house.
Yes. On that note, we have come to the end of Talk Point. 767 and 112 still remain the lines to always call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Ensure that you do what is right to ensure that Lagos and indeed Nigeria gets better. I am Omololu Rosanwo, signing out.